So listen, if you're sitting around waiting for somebody to give you the green light, you are going to be waiting forever. At some point, you just got to look at yourself and say, I believe in me, even if nobody else understands it yet. So let's get into that. Why believing in yourself matters more than waiting on someone else to validate you. Here's the thing. Most of us don't actually lack ideas or dreams or even motivation. What we lack is permission. We're sitting around waiting for somebody to tell us, yes, that's a good idea. Or, yes, you should do that. And until we hear it, we just don't move. But let's be real. If you're living for somebody else to co-sign your life, you are never going to feel free. Period. Because no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone who doesn't get your vision, doesn't believe in it, or just plain doesn't care. And that's okay. But if their approval is the thing you're chasing, you'll always be stuck in the same place. Think about how many times you've said to yourself, well, once my family supports me, I'll go for it. Or when I finally have enough people following me, then I'll start putting myself out there. But if we're being honest, deep down, you don't really need more followers or more claps or more support. What you need is to decide that you are enough, like right now. And look, I'm not saying it's easy. That pull for validation is strong, especially if you've spent years getting used to measuring your worth by other people's interactions and reactions. But every time you hold back and every time you second guess yourself because somebody else hasn't given you their stamp of approval, you're training yourself to believe that you don't have authority over your own life. That's crazy, right? The truth is, you don't need permission and you don't need an audience. You don't even need agreement. What you need is self-belief. Let's be honest. The people you're waiting on to clap for you, half of them are too busy worrying about their own stuff to notice what's even going on. And the other half, they just might not clap until after you've already succeeded. And believe me, that's a thing. So the question becomes, are you going to keep waiting for people who are never going to show up? Or are you going to start showing up for yourself? Sometimes you just got to keep your head down and just move in silence. Not everything needs to be announced. Not every idea needs to be shared before it's fully formed. Early ideas are fragile. You might be excited, motivated, ready to take action, and then you tell somebody, and then suddenly their doubt becomes your doubt. Their hesitation becomes your hesitation. Here's what I've learned. The best thing that you can do is to protect your plans until they're strong enough to stand on their own. You're not being secretive, you're being protective, and there's a difference. When you're working on something that matters, you don't need outside noise in your ear. You don't need to explain yourself 100 times to people who don't even see what you see. You just need to move and let the work, the consistency, and the results speak for themselves. But here's the important thing I want you to hear. Not everybody deserves a front row seat to your process. And not everybody's feedback should weigh the same. Sometimes silence really is your best strategy. Keep building, keep creating, keep showing up, and when your results start speaking, people won't be able to ignore it. As a matter of fact, that's been my approach ever since I've come back to YouTube. And I've been loving that my energy is more so in building quality content for you rather than discussing every little move with anyone who's got a pulse. Later in this video, I'm going to touch on something a lot of people secretly struggle with: comparison and doubt. So stick with me all the way through because that's coming. And by the way, this video is part of a 3-video series I put together that's all about kickstarting your own season of transformation. Each video is packed with things that'll help you shift your mindset and start building momentum. So if this one hits, make sure you check out the next 2 when they drop. And while you're waiting, there's plenty already on this channel that connects to what we've already been discussing. I'll link a cool video I know you'll like at the end of this video. You ever notice how easy it is to look at someone else's life, or at least the little piece of it they put online, and instantly feel like you're behind? Like you're not doing enough, or you're not far enough? Well, that's the trap. Comparison takes your eyes off of your own progress and puts them on somebody else's highlight reel. And let me just say this. Those highlight reels are never the full story. You're seeing the wins, the curated moments, the polished stuff. You're not seeing the nights that they doubted themselves, the mistakes they've made, or even the years they spent struggling before anything really started working for them. But we convince ourselves that what they're showing is the whole picture. And then we beat ourselves up for not matching it. That's crazy. Here's what I want you to remember. Your timeline is your timeline. Your pace is your pace. What's meant for you cannot be rushed, and it can't be stolen. The only person you should be measuring yourself against is who you were yesterday. And if you catch yourself slipping into that comparison spiral, flip the script on it. Instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask, how much have I grown from where I used to be? That shift alone can snap you back into gratitude for your own journey. Now, don't get me wrong. It's human to notice what other people are doing. But the danger comes when you start letting their progress distract you from your own. You could be closer than you think. You could be one consistent season away from a breakthrough. But if you're so focused on their lane, you'll miss the opportunity to push yourself in your own. Up next, I'm going to touch on doubt and how to actually use it to your advantage instead of letting it shut you down. That's one of the biggest mindset shifts you can make, and I don't want you to miss it. All right, let's get into doubt, because if we're being real, it's not a matter of if you'll feel it, it's when. Doubt is one of those things that shows up the minute you start reaching for more than what's comfortable. Have you ever noticed that? And here's the mistake most people make. They think doubt means that they're not ready or that they're on the wrong path. But in reality, doubt usually shows up because you're actually on the edge of growth. You're stepping into something bigger than where you've been, and your brain is just trying to protect you from that unknown. So instead of treating doubt like a stop sign, try looking at it like a signal. A sign that you're dreaming bigger, that you're pushing yourself past what you've already mastered. If you weren't aiming higher, you probably wouldn't even feel it. Think about it. The first time you try something new, your brain instantly starts pulling receipts from the past. Times you failed, times you've hesitated, times things just didn't work out. And it's like, see, this is why you shouldn't do it. But if you only ever listen to that voice, you'd never move. The real shift happens when you learn to use doubt instead of absorbing it. Like, okay, I hear you. You're nervous, but that just means I'm about to grow. And then you move anyway. Because courage isn't feeling 100% confident. It's taking action even when the doubt is still sitting in your chest. And let me just be honest here. People are going to doubt you. That's inevitable. It's just going to happen. That's life. Sometimes the loudest voices of doubt won't even come from inside you. They'll come from the people who are closest to you. That doesn't always mean that they're against you. Sometimes it just means that they can't see the vision the way you see it. Sometimes it just means they're projecting because they want to follow their dreams, but instead of confronting their truth, they'd rather doubt yours. But if you absorb every ounce of their doubt as truth, you'll start shrinking yourself down to match their level of belief. Instead, let it fuel you. Let doubt remind you that you're stepping into territory that's worth fighting for. Because if it wasn't this big, it wouldn't scare you. And if it wasn't meaningful, other people wouldn't question it. Here's where everything comes together. Shifting your motivation inward. Most of us have, at some point, lived with a chip on our shoulder. We've said things like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to show everybody who doubted me. And don't get me wrong, that kind of fire can get you moving. It can most definitely get you off the couch for sure. But if that's the only fuel you're running on, you're going to burn out quickly. Here's why. Proving people wrong is an endless race. Because once you do, and once you accomplish the thing that they said you couldn't, guess what? There'll be yet another person, another critic, another voice to chase, and you'll spend your whole life running laps in somebody else's stadium, trying to win a game that was never yours to begin with. When your motivation is inward, you stop needing the scoreboard. You stop needing the applause. And you stop needing someone else to hand you a reason to keep showing up. You become your own reason. And that's what keeps you consistent on the days when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping, when nobody even knows how much you're grinding. Think about it like this. If your drive is only about other people, whether it's proving them wrong or impressing them or getting their validation, what happens when they stop paying attention? What happens when the audience isn't there? That's when most people quit because their motivation was never rooted in them. It was rooted in someone else's reaction. But if your drive is inward, you don't quit just because the room is quiet. You keep it moving because you said you would. You keep showing up because you made yourself a promise. And when you start proving yourself right, every small win becomes fuel for the next step. Now, I don't want you to think this shift happens overnight because it doesn't. It's catching yourself when you're moving out of spite instead of purpose. It's pausing and asking, am I doing this because I'm trying to silence somebody else or because I'm trying to strengthen my own belief. And let me tell you, when you do finally cross that line, it feels different. It feels lighter because suddenly you're not chasing after the shadows of other people's opinions. You're chasing after a version of yourself that you can't wait to meet. So here's the challenge. Stop giving so much weight to who said what, who believed in you, who doubted you. That doesn't even matter at this point. Start asking yourself, what would it look like if I lived as if I already believed in me? Not someday, not when things are perfect, not when the support rolls in, but right now. Because the truth is, your life shifts the minute you decide your belief in yourself is worth more than their opinion of you. That's the kind of motivation that makes you unstoppable. Here's my advice. Stop dragging your feet. If there's something you've been sitting on, start it. Even if it's messy. Even if you don't have it all figured out yet. Action teaches you more than waiting ever will. Don't waste another season waiting for someone else to validate what's already sitting in your spirit. Back yourself. Make the decision. Take the step. That's how you build the kind of confidence that sticks. So don't let this end when this video ends. Keep it moving. A video just popped up on your screen, and this is the one I want you to watch next. Press play on that and keep the momentum going.